Today's video is about mushrooms. Some wine caps and some Pleurotus. So if this is something you're interested in, then let's get started. More wine caps. I found some more wine caps right beside my potato patch. Here they are, and I'm gonna pick them. I want to leave the mycelium in the ground, so I don't want to take up any of that mycelium, so I'm gonna cut these at the base of their stem. They're all hidden under the straw. Oh, here's one. I'm gonna cut this bottom part off and put it back. It's got some of that mycelium, which is the main body of the mushroom. This is the fruit. And this is the main body, and there's a ton of it. They look like roots, but they're called mycelium. My basket, put this back. Cover it up in a minute. Here's another one. Cut off the mycelium. Get it in my basket. Mycelium back. Here's another one. Here's some mustard I can take for supper too. Put that in the basket. Oh, here's a sunflower. I'm not gonna pick that. Here's some more mustard. It's better to cut the mushroom without cutting the mycelium. I'm gonna cut this one off there without separating it. There, that one I left in the ground. Wine cap, Stropharia, something or other at the end. Stropharia rugosoannulata. There we go. Beautiful. A bunch of little ones. You know what? These little ones, I'm gonna leave. See if they get bigger between now and tomorrow. There's another one here growing, so I'm going to cover them back up. Take a bunch of leaves, cover these back up. They like to be covered up. They like all this humid weather we've had. We've had a ton of rain. So here we are the next day, and they've grown a little bit. Today I'm going to pick them, because at some point they'll start to get old. You see, they look significantly older than yesterday, but they're still good. Pick all these. We got some little ones here. I'm gonna leave these little ones here. And there's some more. There's a bigger one up here. Oh, there we are. Some more little ones here. So I'll keep growing till tomorrow. There's another one. Amazing. Oh, I should have let this one grow. This was young. Yeah, these have dried out significantly from yesterday. Today's batch. The next day, the 5 mushrooms I had left the day before. Say, when you have what you might think is too much rain, then what you might find on your dead logs and in leaf mulch and wood chips and so on, what you might find are mushrooms. Now you need to know what kind they are. You have to be careful, but at least with this type of weather you can discover mushrooms and learn about them. And maybe find some that are edible. Never attempt to eat a mushroom unless you are 100% certain of its identification as an edible mushroom. That requires research and practice over time. I will be talking more about the things you need to look at when learning how to identify mushrooms at the end of the video. Putting these in the fridge until we're ready to cook them tomorrow. Earlier the same day, we found some Aspen oyster mushrooms, Pleurotus populinus. They grow on dead, trembling aspen trees, of which we have many. If you have to cut down dead trees on your property, then it's a really good idea to keep the logs, because there are many excellent mushrooms that grow on many different types of tree logs. And there are so many things you can do with those logs. And all you need to do is leave those logs there in nature and let nature do the rest. You can check out our video on turkey tail mushrooms to get more details on growing your own mushrooms. I'll put a link right up here. These are Pleurotus mushrooms growing on the dead trunk of a trembling aspen. I'm going to take a knife. Why? Because I want to leave a tiny bit of the fungus on just in case it decides to regrow. And so I don't want to cut out any of the mycelium. And so I'm just going to cut. I don't know, I usually just pull these off like this. I'm just going to pull this one off, you'll see. Oh, there we go. So I'll leave a little bit of that there. Look at that. Beautiful. It's a nice weight too. This is probably about half a pound, a quarter of a kilogram. Cut these two off and try and leave a little bit of flesh there. We'll see. It kind of just pulled off on its own. You see, but that's what I'm talking about. That I would have preferred to leave on because there's a little wood there. There's probably some mycelium in there. And so I would have preferred it to stay on. So what I'm going to do is cut this piece off. It's not really that good to eat anyway. And I'm going to just leave it here. Just going to stick it underneath this piece of wood. Maybe it'll grow. Okay, now let's cut the last piece. So let's cut this off. There we go. You see there, I left it in the wood, so maybe this will regrow. I'm not sure. We'll see. Here's another one. These are a bit fresher. They're a bit younger. I'm going to cut one off and leave the other to see if it grows anymore. Oops. I left some of it, which is good. So I'm just going to leave these little pieces that have a little tiny bit of mycelium. Just going to stuff them in here. This little one I'm going to leave for one more day, see if it gets bigger. It's the next day. They've grown a little bit more. I think we're going to try and leave them one more day. Let's hope the deer don't come and eat them. Saw some deer tracks yesterday morning, but not here, out back. It's a couple days later, first thing in the morning, and I'd forgotten about it. Actually, I think it's 3 days later. It's grown quite a bit. Ah, look at that. Beautiful. I'm gonna cut this now. And cut it carefully, because I pull it off maybe. Up. Well, okay, look at that. I left one piece that can continue to grow. Look at that. Beautiful. Pleurotus, populinus, Aspen Oyster. And it's got all the texture of an oyster too. Later, I'll cut this part off and I'll bring it back out and put it back into the log. All you need to do to get your own mushrooms is to leave pieces of branches, wood chips, leaf mold, and logs lying around and just let nature do its work. We leave all that stuff I just mentioned lying around our garden. We surround our garden with logs and we put wood chips in the trails and we put dead leaves and as mulch on the garden. All that stuff, the frogs and toads love it. And so they come into the garden, use all that stuff as shelter, and then eat all our insects for us. And our slugs and snails. And then we also get mushrooms. Depending on the type of logs, you get different types of mushrooms. In the fridge, getting ready for supper, along with our last batch of wine caps. This is the first batch of mushrooms that we found, which Maggie proceeded to do her magic on. She did a video about how she prepared and cooked them. It's in French with subtitles in multiple languages. I'll put a link up here so you can have a look. In the last several days, I've been working on these videos. We've had a total of 7 or 8 harvests of the 2 types of mushrooms. Nature is abundance defined. Pleurotus and winecap mushroom and sting nettle pizza. It can be very exciting to find mushrooms, but you have to be very careful if you are considering eating them. You really do have to be 100% certain of your mushroom's identification. There are many different types of mushrooms and many different details that you can observe on mushrooms in order to identify them.
There are mushrooms with gills, like these, but there are other mushrooms that have pores or tubes or teeth and more instead of gills. When looking at a mushroom, you can look at its cap, its shape, its surface, and its margins. You can look at the spacing of the gills and how they're attached to the stem. You can look at the shape, surface, and texture of the stems. And then there are the veils that attach the cap to the stem. And there are many, many more identifying factors. Reading up on it is not enough, but it certainly is important. It's important to use good books and more than one, and also to get hands-on experience with people who have expertise in the area.
Hope you liked the video. Hope you found it useful. Hope you learned something from it. If you liked it, then please give it the thumbs up. And please share it with your friends. Don't forget to leave a comment below or a question. I love to answer your questions and respond to your comments. And if you haven't done so yet, then please subscribe to our channel. Support what we do here just by subscribing. That way you can watch more of our videos. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next time. I'm coming back to see if there are more mushrooms growing in the same spot as yesterday. This was the spot right here, and